Before we get to the review today, I just want to shout out an awesome YouTube channel, Obscure Mics. We're kind of doing a little bit of a double review of the Aston Stealth, so if you want to see another review of this microphone, go check him out. Today we have the Aston Stealth in the studio. This is a bit of a broadcast style microphone, but it actually has 4 different voicings. One for male, one for female, one for guitar, and one for vintage. This microphone has a lot to offer, and quite frankly, it is huge. So let's not dilly-dally. Let's jump right into it. Dilly-dally? Who even says that? What's up, audio nerds? Welcome to the Audio Hotline. As I said before, today we have the Aston Stealth microphone in the studio. Currently, I have phantom power activated, and I am recording this microphone into my Zoom H5 with the gain set at 30%. 30% is very low. And some of you may think that this is a dynamic microphone, and technically it is a dynamic microphone. So you're asking yourself, why do you have phantom power on? This microphone has an awesome feature. When phantom power isn't activated, this is essentially acting like a dynamic microphone. So you'd have to have the gain turned up quite a bit, and I will turn off the phantom power in a little bit and we'll test that out. But as soon as you activate 48 volts of phantom power, an internal preamp turns on inside the microphone. There's basically a cloud lifter in this microphone. So that's an awesome feature about this microphone, so you don't have to end up buying a cloud lifter, an SE Dynamite, or any inline preamp mic activator. But that's one thing I will say is this microphone is actually $400 on Amazon, so it isn't super cheap. But one thing I will say is that when I bought my Shure SM7b for $400, I ended up buying a cloud lifter for about $130, $150. So the fact that it has a built-in mic preamp is really nice, especially for the price of it. I think that's outstanding. But I have a lot to check out with this microphone to see if I like it, and through these specs and tests, you can form your own opinion. One other feature that I do want to talk about real quick before we jump into some other stuff is the fact that this microphone does have 4 different voicings. Right down here, you have a V1, a V2, a G, and a D. These stand for Vocal 1, which is meant for males. And then the V2 stands for Vocal 2, which is meant for the female voice. Next, you have a G, which you guessed it, stands for guitar. And the last one is D, which stands for dark, which has a vintage tone to it. And I believe that Aston was trying to go for like a classic ribbon mic sound with that setting. Here in a little bit, we will test out all of those different voicings and see how they sound. Now let's go ahead and discuss what you get in the box when you buy the Aston Stealth. Inside the box with the Aston Stealth, you will get some usual documentation. You will get a beautiful Aston sticker that just looks fantastic. You will get a nice little Aston pin. How cute is that? You will get a microphone mount, which is actually very interesting. And of course, you will get the Aston Stealth microphone with all of its 4 voicing glory and its built-in preamp. When it comes to the build of the microphone, it does feel really good. It's all metal right here, but the one thing that does bug me a little bit is the fact that right up here is plastic. I don't know the exact reasoning for this, or maybe it just happens to me, but every damn time I drop a microphone or it falls from a mic stand, it lands right on top. So the fact that this part is built of plastic and the rest of it is metal kind of bums me out. I wish that it was all metal, but oh well. Another cool thing about the microphone build is the fact that it does have a little foam piece right here to cut out on some plosives. It doesn't do like an incredible job on plosives. I definitely think I'll end up testing it with a pop filter and without a pop filter as well. When it comes to the mic mount and the way that you mount the microphone, I can't decide if I like it or not. It's fine. I do wish that the mic mount was built a little bit better. When you're paying $400 and you get a little tiny piece of plastic for a mic mount, it's kind of a turnoff. But my favorite thing when it comes to the body of this microphone is, of course, the light. When the preamp inside this microphone is activated by 48 volts of phantom power, this adorable little light turns on. That's such an awesome indicator that you do have phantom power on. I really like that. And it just looks great. One thing I didn't realize a second ago was the fact that you can actually turn the light on and off from a switch down here, a little button. How awesome is that? So cool. But enough talk about the basics of this microphone. Let's go ahead and hit those specs hard. The Aston Stealth is a dynamic broadcast quality cardioid microphone with a moving coil transducer. It has a frequency response of 20 Hz to 20 kHz. With an equivalent noise level of 10 decibels. This microphone has a max SPL of 140 decibels. When it comes to the frequency response of this microphone, it essentially has 4 different responses, one for each voicing. Since there are 4 different voicings, I won't bore you and get too specific with this frequency response. Well, we've made it through the overview, we've made it through the specs, and now it is testing time. Since there are 4 different voicings to test out with this microphone, this testing period could get a little lengthy. But one thing I will be doing in these tests is that I will be going through V1, V2, and D mode with my voice, and then when it comes to the acoustic guitar test, I will switch it over to G mode. But just go ahead and pay attention to what I have written down here, and you can follow along just fine. When you get really close to the Aston Stealth in V1 mode, here's how it sounds. When you get really close to the Aston Stealth in V2 mode, here's how it sounds. And when you get really close to the Aston Stealth in D mode, here's how it sounds. Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peanuts. 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 Since the polar pattern doesn't change with these voicings, I will just be doing a couple tests in V1 mode. If you're typing into a keyboard like a crazy person while you're talking into the Aston Stealth in V1 mode, here's how it sounds. If you talk into the front of the Aston Stealth, here's how it sounds. If you talk into the side of the Aston Stealth, here's how it sounds. And if you talk into the back of the Aston Stealth in V1 mode, here's how it sounds. Now, just to get an idea of what each of these voicings sound like, here is me just talking directly into the V1 mode. And this is me talking directly into the mic in V2 mode. And you can tell that this is much brighter. And just for shits and giggles, this is me talking into G mode, which is for guitars, but hey, this is me talking into it. And this is me talking into the Stealth in D mode, which is dark mode, which is like the vintage sound. The classic ribbon sound, as the Astons would say. Now, everyone makes post-processing decisions based off of their own voice. I'm just going to use the V1 mode for this example of post-processing, just because that's the male one that fits my voice. So it doesn't make sense for me to go through all of them, change the EQ so it fits my voice. It doesn't make sense. This is a good example of just some basic post-processing with the microphone in V1 mode. I probably have a little bit of EQ. If I do, I'll put it right here, put it right there. And then I just will have a little bit of a noise remover for when the compression comes in so the noise level isn't too high, and then just a de-esser. This is with the microphone 4 feet away. That's how far away it had to be to get that giant microphone out of the camera shot. There may be some YouTubers out there that want a nice microphone to start a podcast or something like that, but they also want to shoot YouTube videos and want the microphone out of the camera shot. If that is the case, here is an example of what you could get with the microphone 4 feet away. I did bump up the preamp to 40% from 30%, so there's going to be a little bit more of a noise floor, but I just didn't want to have to boost it as much in post. And I wanted to give you an example of that noise floor. Now we're just going to do a couple side-by-side tests, one with phantom power on, so the built-in preamp is activated, and the other with the preamp off. This is the Aston Stealth without 48 volts of phantom power on. I have had to bump up my gain from 30% to 70%. And once again, this is with 48 volts of phantom power activated. And once again, this is how the Stealth sounds in dynamic mode. You can hear that there is quite a bit more noise floor. And for the last time, this is 48 volts of phantom power activated. And for the last time, this is the Aston Stealth without 48 volts of phantom power activated. Well, now that we've gone through the overview, the specs, and the testing, let's go ahead and get to my review of the Aston Stealth. It's actually kind of interesting. This microphone somehow flew under my radar until the day it got released. Like, I didn't know anything about it, and I feel like I usually can find out about some microphones that are for pre-order and everything. Usually people comment or I read it on a forum. You know, I'm constantly looking up microphone stuff, so like, I don't know how I didn't find it. But once I saw it, I was like, yes. Because the idea of this microphone, 4 different voicings, a built-in preamp, sounds awesome. And I mean, it's cool that it has the built-in preamp and 4 different voicings, all for the same price of an SM7b or an Electro Voice RE20. I mean, there's definitely some advantages to those features at that price point. So I was like super stoked. And then it got here and I found myself leaving it in the closet on the shelf, kind of putting off reviewing it. So when I would go to do a review, I'd be like, I'll do the Stealth next time. And then I kept doing that. And I'm sure that you're like, wait, you said you were super excited about it. Yeah, absolutely. So excited about it. But I was also extremely worried that it was going to suck. Like, suck a lot. A large amount of sucking. Because I really wanted it to be good. Like those features that I mentioned before, like the voicings, the built-in preamp, the fact that it's the price of some of the classic broadcast microphones. But I eventually got it on this mic stand and did the review, and now I can say that I'm relieved. Because honestly, I think it did a really good job and it lived up to my expectation for it. And my expectation was pretty damn high for it. I do think that the voicings are really cool. I think that there are multiple ways that you could use them. I think that for different people's voices, they will work really well if you switch them around, find what works best for you. It's just a really cool idea, and I feel like these voicings are a really great starting point. I do feel like the V1 for the male voice does sound really good. As a person who records people, if you do that also, it'll be great to have at least a couple options when someone walks in and you're like, hey, well, let's try this microphone out. Also, I didn't like that setting. Click. Instead of different microphone. Like, that's awesome to have a microphone that has a few different options. But I really do like this microphone. I think it'd be great for broadcasting, for podcasting. I do think that this is a solid microphone for guitar work in the G setting. But overall, I just feel like this is a good microphone to have. It just gives you some versatility, and I really like that. I do wish that this wasn't plastic right here, but what can you do? The one issue I have been having is the weight of the microphone, actually. I have found myself adjusting the mic stand quite a few times. I've found some things loosening a little bit. And that's the thing, though. This is like a Hercules mic stand. Like, this is a nice mic stand, and it is a strong mic stand. So I'm a little surprised that it's struggling with that a little bit. But now that I have everything like really tightened down, it's been fine. But just know that you really need to pin stuff down for this microphone's weight. I do kind of wish it had the Rhodes style mounting system where it kind of goes around the bottom and then you screw this in just so you can get to the XLR cable a little bit better. The mic mount is fine. I'm just being a little nitpicky. I have came around a little bit more to the looks of it, but truthfully, when I first got it, I hated the way it looked. The more I see it and the more I like the sound of it, the more I'm kind of okay with the look of it. I'm definitely more of a fan of like the traditional broadcast style microphone look more so than this thing. A pop filter is a good idea with this microphone. If you blow air into it, it definitely struggles a little bit. So I think a little extra protection couldn't hurt. I know there's already the foam on here, but sometimes you have to double bag it. When it comes to the built-in preamp, I absolutely love it. I think it is fantastic. I love the way this sounds. I love how much it boosts the gain. It is great. I would find myself always using phantom power with this microphone, unless, of course, I came across a sound source that was too loud, couldn't handle it. Then I would, of course, turn off phantom power and go from there. But I do think this microphone does sound awesome with phantom power on. You can get to a good, spoken word setting without too much of a noise floor. It's awesome. When the phantom power is inactive, I did find that going to 70%, the noise floor was definitely a lot more apparent, which makes sense. I like the sound of this microphone. I think the voicings are awesome. The built-in preamp is exactly what I wanted it to be. It's fantastic. If you like the SM7b sound better than this, or the RE20 sound better than this, or the Procaster, Broadcaster, whatever, if you like the sound of that better than this, go with that microphone. You really can't go wrong with any of those microphones. They are all awesome. I just think that this is a nice one to have with the different voicings and the already built-in preamp. Like, I already have plans to use this more. I'm excited about it for sure. So the grade that I give the Aston Stealth is an A. I do like the sound of this microphone. I think the features are awesome. I definitely think it is worth $400. That is a steep price, but it is a very nice microphone. Thank you for watching this review of the Aston Stealth. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out, helped you decide whether you want this microphone or not. But most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot more reviews and comparisons and a lot of other videos. Thank you to my subscribers and all the people that are active on this channel. I love you. And once again, thank you for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.